where communities are fighting back against privatization and foreign exploitation.
At first, the people in the community didn't even know that this was happening.
And for them to come in and definitely just take it away, because that is their plan.
The power that the treaties and the law gives them has us so much concern. We are so very concerned about that.
Taking away Honduran sovereignty and taking away land from communities.
Partner with the government to expropriate their land.
The laws give them privilege to take our land.
Have torn down a complete hill, a hill that has so many species of animals, species of trees, as well as our main source of water. We already have a well that has been dried up.
What's a zone for employment and economic development, ZEDI? Well, it's like a fancy idea that some people promote as a way for countries to get more money and create more jobs. But in simpler terms, it means that foreign investors can buy a big piece of land in Honduras and have full control over it. And the Honduran government kind of gives up its power over that land. This might not be good for the rights of workers, Afro-Indigenous, Afro-descendant, and indigenous people and poor farmers, because they could be at the mercy of these rich private investors.
Private cities that U.S. corporations could come in and control the territory. The territory was removed from municipal jurisdictions.
Which will have its own judicial system. It is run by a technical secretary chosen by the camp, and the camp itself is in the shadow. No one knows who the members of the camps are.
They had then the power as a corporation to set their own regulatory standards, tax policy, monetary policy, security forces, have their own separate court system, and basically run their own government.
This is a state within a state.
The ex-president of Honduras, Juan Orlando Hernandez, who was sent to the United States to face charges related to drug trafficking and firearms, strongly pushed for this type of investment in Honduras from 2014 to 2021.
Could you talk about how your community, Crawfish Rock, found out about this, and what the previous government had done to keep the basic information from the people?
We didn't hear it from the government. We heard it through a community leader, and she practically was telling us underneath because she was so scared, but she wanted the community to know, and she sent it through our WhatsApp messages. And we were, we had to do so much study. We had to knock on so many doors because everyone that we asked was like, no one knew about it. The authorities knew nothing about it. This community is a small community. It's an ethnic community. And we, of course, has the rights to be free and previously consulted on any type of project that is being done in our community, and we have not been.
The ZD's law can turn into a hideout for illegal activities. This law in Article 22 says these special economic areas can have their own private police, jails, and secret agents with full control in their zone. In a place in Honduras called Ciudad Morazan, the regular police can't come in without being invited or watched by the ZD's security people. This can open the door to crime and corruption. Also, having their own police can lead to more problems for activists, indigenous and Afro-Indigenous groups, and land protectors, making them more likely to be treated as criminals and facing more violence.
Is this anarcho-capitalism in action?
In some ways, yes.
It's quite a shadowy operation. They have created an opportunity to become an e-resident.
You just fill out an online application and pay a $1,300 fee, though Honduran nationals get an 80% discount.
And basically operate outside of the jurisdiction of the United States or Honduras. So in terms of contributing to development, that seems very unclear.
The ZA law does permit the zones to partner with the government to take private lands for public infrastructure development.
Articles 25, 26, 27, and 28 outline the procedure by which the Honduran government can acquire land for the establishment or expansion of ZDs if it is deemed necessary for the growth of these specialized economic zones. Article 43 specifies that ZDs are not allowed to confiscate land from Afro-Indigenous and Indigenous individuals if they possess official land titles granted by the government. However, if ZDs expand, This safeguard may not adequately shield indigenous and Afro-descendant communities, as many of these groups have not received clear land titles, even for the territories they have inhabited for extended periods, often because of the inherently racist and discriminatory practices of the land tenure system. So in other words, if you don't have your papers, you're at risk of losing your land.
Bremen says that even if a repeal vote is ratified by Congress, Prospera is protected by international treaties, and the government will risk paying damages of over $10 billion if it violates them.
So Senator Warren and 30 members of Congress are calling on the Biden administration to weigh in on behalf of Honduras in this case so that they do not bankrupt this country.
If a country goes bankrupt, the following things may happen. 1, the stock market will crash and credit will seize. All financial institutions will fail. All government-funded programs will end, such as Medicaid, defense, police, education, infrastructure support like roads, utilities, etc. Businesses will close and jobs will be lost. There will be mass rioting and no police to stop the rioters or firefighters to fight the fire. President Xiomara Castro revealed on April 21st, 2022, that Congress had voted unanimously to revoke this law, citing it as a breach of national sovereignty. Following the law's cancellation on December 20th, 2022, Zayde Prospera declared its intention to file a $10.7 billion lawsuit against the Honduran government.
The company is using this as an additional tool to try to bully the government to not implement the democratic will of the people. That's not the end of the story because of the trade agreement that empower corporations to be able to challenge democratic policies outside of the court system. This isn't in a U.S. court. It's not in a Honduran court. It's in a private tribunal of private sector lawyers, 3 arbitrators who will decide whether to basically ransack the treasury of the tiny country of Honduras to the tune of $11 billion with a B, which again, as you mentioned, would bankrupt the country. So they are claiming that under these extreme rules, investor rights that are included in the trade agreement, that they should be able to be compensated unless Honduras basically lets them do whatever they want according to the law that they previously invested under. As far as we can tell, there is not a goal to do manufacturing, to really have major jobs. It can look like on the surface a tourist community, like a residential community, but what it looks like is really more of a political project.
Maybe for the beginning, it will benefit us because they may give us jobs, but in the future, the laws give them privilege to take our land.